All right, so unfortunately, my sister, um, someone very close to me and dear to me, had an accident up here in Muskoka. And I say so-called quote unquote accident because I'm not quite sure I believe in accidents, but I think that maybe people sometimes have subconscious issues or well, I'll use the metaphor of the chakras, right? You know, maybe somebody's stuck at a certain level and they're really terrified of going to the next level, going to a higher level. So anyway, the point is they ignored certain basic safety issues for years and years, using a ladder to go up to the loft at their cabin. So I want to tell people that, first of all, the first message is don't do that. If you're going to go up north into the woods, especially when you're 62 years old and you're deconditioned and you've got some brain fog and maybe pre-diabetes or you could have sleep apnea and not even know it. You know, at that age, all kinds of diseases are kind of waiting in the shadows to manifest if you're not actually doing all you can on your health and nutrition, which go hand in hand. You can't be fully healthy if you don't work out. I'm sorry. You just have to move your body, and you can't get it all from food or just going on YouTube videos. You should really get responsible and hire a coach, and especially those kind of people, because they're the ones who you guys tend to shy away from that, and maybe even into, you know, for decades and decades until you're old. And then things like are going to happen, which are avoidable. Accidents, diseases. It would have taken me or her husband 2 seconds to put 2 screws in, but I was doing renovation at my cabin, and she didn't help me unload my mother's things from the van, so I didn't have time to even see what's going on there. But I always assumed that they had some kind of way of going up and down, or they had screws, or they had a back door, or whatever. Not really my problem, is it? So, although, you know, here's another thing. You're not fully grown up if some other person needs to come and tell you this. So even though you might think you're really wise, you're really intelligent, and you're all that, you know, and you read books and you go on there and you get that info, and you have information in your head, and it doesn't mean you're wise, or the safety comes first. What's the point of working out or going to a job and working for your retirement and then ending up paralyzed because you wouldn't hire a contractor or like a trainer and spend a little of your money? That's when you know you've got some work to do. And more I'm realizing that this is the message that I have to deliver to the world. Like, I mean, this is where I can help people, and it's not about me being some guy who's studied this for 4 years in university or anything. I've worked through a lot of this stuff myself. For example, let me turn around here now. So this is what I was working on. We put in, here's Kelly behind here, is another trainer. She's former Good Life trainer, now running her own business, Kelly Kinetics. And we put in this renovation. We did the window last night because this was a little A-frame, and it was kind of dangerous, and it was impinging on our state of mind, adding stress, you know, tripping over things, not finding things. Sometimes finding things is important. It could be the difference between you having an accident or not having an accident, right? Like, maybe they did want to put some screws in there and they just didn't know where the drill was, or the drill wasn't charged, or they didn't know where the screws were, or whatever. It's just a symptom of somebody's state of mind. And like, so it's important to have a dream. And I think, well, now that she's injured, I'm hoping she finally understands what it is that I do and what I can do for her. And in prevention, treatment, helping people become aware of where they're doing these things, and then offering them solutions. Like there's so many things I've studied, like Paul Chek is the guy I would go to for spirit and building a healthy ego. I know he's studied a lot of Jung and stuff like that. He's a shaman and everything, Tai Chi. And I read Eckhart Tolle, and I do the meditations up here for months on end, like I've done the non-ego stuff. I do Tantra work with Absolute Tantra, and I've done classes with them for about 3 years where we go into shadow issues. And so you can't just do one thing, like thinking, oh, I'm really spiritual and I'm really smart and everything, and then neglect to look at where you're not smart, where you're like a 3-year-old. I mean, who, especially, you know, some people like to have a few drinks, and then what? You're going to go crawling up a ladder, like, and you're overweight and you don't have good balance. Maybe you're already like at the age where you're losing your balance. And then I think she said it was hot up there and she felt like she might have had a bit of a, you know, when you stand up quickly and you feel kind of like a faint. So maybe there's blood pressure issues. Sleep apnea makes people prone to accidents. Sorry, I haven't slept all that well either. I mean, obviously, because I mean, she might be having surgery right now. So I'm just praying. This is one of the people on earth who means the most to me, like my mother, my sister, brother, and Kelly. So, yeah, you can blow it off for a long time. You can hide and watch TV and eat chips and do nothing and just live in disarray and chaos and not have a dream, not have. And you need, like, I think it's important to understand why you do these things, right? We're preventing disease, we're preventing accidents, it's because we love our friends and family, and you only get one life and one body, and the harsh reality is there's natural laws in the universe that you have to listen to, or you're going to pay the price. It's a very cruel, sort of harsh reality. So, you know, and actually up here, my stepfather fell off a cliff on an ATV, ended up paralyzed for 20 years. And he thought he was a really smart engineer and everything else. But what he was lacking was concentration. I think he was kind of an absent-minded professor type of guy. Nutty professor, and he had a bit of ADD, and he was full of his own ego. He was like a senior citizen almost, and he was on top of a cliff where he had no business to be on a cliff that had no railing, and ended up paralyzed, and my mother had to look after him for 20 years. And so this is totally avoidable stuff. You know, you just have to have some self-respect, right? You know, believe that you're worth taken care of. And if no one's ever told you that before, well then get over here, because that's what we do. And then once you get all that work done, it's the sky's the limit. Like Kelly just stepped out of a meeting with a group that she works with online that goes as far as Africa in terms of their business ventures and sort of like online coaching for success, I would say, in general, okay, which I can do as well, and Kelly can do as well, and but yeah, once again, I'm not like a trained Jungian psychologist or anything, but I have realized that at this point in my life, like I have lots to teach these people, but the one thing that is preventing that from happening is, well, one would be, you're searching for somebody with a piece of paper. The other one is like, you're just not willing to start the work. You're either not humbled enough, or you're penny pinching, and you don't want to spend any money and have an energy exchange with somebody. And unless you're willing to like kind of respect your practitioner and yourself and commit to something like that, then you're just going to be left to your own devices. And whereas you could be prompted by a schedule that you have to adhere to, and I mean, if because otherwise we're going to let you go, and then you're back to square one, and you haven't made any progress. So there's an incentive to keep, and it's your dream. It's not like we're forcing you to do anything you don't want to do. If your goal is to lose 5 pounds, that's what we're going to work on. If if you want to work on diet and digestive things, that's an area of specialty for me. I've dealt with certain health issues and had to work through them. But I call myself Stillwater Holistic for a reason, right? Like, I think no matter what you do, if you don't calm your mind and your breathing down, and you're just always going to be in a kind of agitated state, and then you're prone to like having accidents and arguments, and you're going to be in a reactive state. So when you're in a relationship, it's so easy to like, you see someone's shadow, they sort of try and pick a fight with you, and then there you are, you're reacting, and you've lost your center of gravity and your composure. So for your health too, like your blood pressure, anything stress, like stress is the number one thing, right? I would think. So stress is related to everything, like sleep, accidents, driving a car. You want to be like that, full of cortisol. And then first of all, you need to lower your stress before I'll even give you a lot of exercises, because contrary to what a lot of gyms do, and they load you up with a ton of weights and all that right from the get-go, because that's their business model, I won't allow that. So you need to deal with the stressful stuff in your life first, so that you don't have too much cortisol, so that when you start training, and it's not heavy weights that we start with either, so I don't want to give you that impression. It's like, if you're already like very stressed and everything, we might just do working in exercises as opposed to working out, like working in. So it's called, that's just like light breathing exercises and very easy mobility exercises and things. So you can't use the drill sergeant. The fear of the drill sergeant is not an issue here. You can't use that as an excuse. I'm not going to be that way with any clients. It's more like you might have a fear of growth. Like you might have a fear of looking, because you can't grow without taking a look at who you are right now. Like you have to be honest with yourself. Like, are you wise, or are you a bit of a dumbass? I mean, like, what have you done in the last like 10 years for your health and your state of mind? Have you done anything? Have you made excuses? Like, so anyway, that's the end of this for today, and thank you for listening. Share your stories below, I guess. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.